In this lesson, we're going to be working on point of view. So you're going to need your ELA Ian. So we're going to go ahead and turn to the next blank page we have. So for me, that's right here. And you're going to take the packet that was given to you and you're going to take it apart. So the first page we're going to be dealing with is actually this small page right here. So you're going to want to go ahead and cut off the edges of this page. So I'm going to go ahead and do that really quick. And then you're going to want to glue that in to your first available page. I do suggest using glue sticks. However, if you don't have glue sticks, like me for example, then you can use just a little bit of Elmer's glue and it will get the job done. So I'm just using that. So that's going to go in my next available blank page. So for me, that's right here. So that is the first page that you're going to glue in. Now the next page of the document is this page, but we're going to skip over to this page. So you're going to need to cut out the page as follows. You're going to want this as one big box, and then the smaller box should be cut separately. Now what you're going to do with this is, for your next page, you're going to pretend that there is a folded line right here. And you're going to fold right underneath that little box, like so. And then fold it the opposite way. This has now created a flap. So the glue is actually going to go on the back of this. So I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to go ahead and put it only on the back of this little flap here. And then I'm going to glue that down. So that now what I've done is I've created a flap here for myself. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this small piece and I'm actually going to glue this underneath here. So I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to apply it to the back strip. And then underneath that flap, I'm going to glue in these questions. So it should look like this in the end. Okay, so now let's go on to the next page. This is where your page with your cameras are going to come in. So this one right here. The way you're going to want to cut these out is you're going to want to cut along the solid line, because this dotted line here you're going to be folding and creating a flap just like we did before. So there's a specific order you need to glue these in. You need to find the first, second, and third person cameras. And these are going to go by themselves onto your left side. Then you need to find the third objective, third limited, and third omniscient. And these are going to go on the right side. So let's start with the left side here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my first person and I'm going to fold along this dotted line here. And then I'm going to reverse the fold. And I'm only putting glue on this little flap. So I'm going to go ahead and take my glue, put it on the flap. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to glue this in to my left hand side. Now I'm going to take my second person and do the same exact thing. Oops, accidentally dropped it. do the same exact thing. I'm going to fold right here, reverse the fold, add glue, and then apply it to the page. And then finally, I'm going to do the same thing with my third person. I'm going to fold, reverse the fold, add the glue, and then add it to my page. And then once I have all of those glued in to my liking, I can move on to the next page. So I suggest you start with your third objective, and you're going to go ahead and fold, reverse the fold, add the glue, and then glue that in. I'm going to glue it in pretty much the same way as I did before on the previous page. I'm going to then take my third limited, and you'll see why in our lesson why it's in this order. Okay, so once you have them all glued in, it should look something like this. So each of them should be a flap that you can write something underneath. We will be writing notes under here, and we will be gluing examples onto the back of the flaps. So now you should have one more page left. So you're going to go ahead and turn to your last page, and you're going to take the remaining page of the packet, which is this one, and you are going to cut it out like so. So you're going to cut out these two boxes together and then the bottom box by itself. So when you're done with that, it should look like this. You have these two boxes together, and then you're going to have the bottom box. So what I suggest you do is you again pretend that there is an invisible dotted line in between these two boxes, and you're going to fold there. And just like we have with pretty much everything else, we are going to create a flap. So I'm going to fold, I'm going to reverse my fold, I'm going to apply glue to the back of this. So this is where I will be attaching it to my interactive notebook. And then once I've applied my glue, I'm going to put it down on my next blank page, which just so happens to be right here. And then once that's in, I'm going to take this little box that I have left. I'm going to apply some glue to it, and I'm going to lift up the flap and glue it right underneath. I will be writing in the flap answering these questions in class, so that way you want to make sure it's as close as possible to the top of the flap, like that. So we are going to be answering these questions in class together, so you're going to want to leave all this space available. So in the end, it should look like this. Your very first page should be the small page, the front of the handout. Then you should have blank space that you will be answering these guiding questions. Then you should have this point of view that is a big flap that has these questions that you will be answering here. Then you should have all 6 cameras, first, second, third on the left page, and third objective, third limited, and third omniscient on the right page. And then finally you should have the last point of view example with a flap so that you can answer these questions in the end. Go ahead and make sure you don't forget to add your page numbers, and you add the point of view section to your table of contents, so that way when you go back to review, you can find and access things easily through your table of contents.